With us, Mark Gungor from Green Bay, Wisconsin. You are going to love this guy. Senior pastor of Celebration Church, formerly Bayside, right? Formerly Bayside Church.
We've had some of our funnest hosting times when he's been on.
Yeah, some of the most uncomfortable too at some point. So
maybe that's why they've been the funnest.
Okay, the topic from now on. Okay, remember we're in the Christmas season.
Yes.
Marriages have to work during Christmas.
Yes.
Okay.
Are they harder during Christmas?
What do you want to say about that?
Are they harder than during Christmas? They might be for some people because
right.
of unrealistic expectations or all the pressures and stuff like that.
Or other families coming over and stuff.
Yeah. But it's a great point because marriage can be hard at this time of year, but marriage is a hard period. It just is. And the Bible tells us. Paul gives us this wonderful promise. He who marries will have trouble in this life.
Yeah.
That's what he says, right? Now, you don't hear those verses read at weddings very often. You gotta downplay that, you know what I'm saying? But it's tough and it's hard. But what I love about this time of year, the Christmas story. I mean, reality check, people. The Christmas story is a story of misery. It is absolute misery, okay? Check it out. An angel shows up.
Yeah.
Prophesies to you. Blessed art thou among women, okay? Now, you would think an angel shows up, it's going to be nothing but good from here on out, right? Things are going to be smooth. It's going to be great. You're going to be blessed. Well, right away, the angel disappears. Now, all of a sudden, she's pregnant. She's got to explain this to the fam, okay? You know nobody's buying the story. You know, would you?
Yeah.
You know, an angel told me. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So now she's got this embarrassment. Nobody, and Joseph is freaking out. He wants to get rid of her. An angel's got to calm him down.
Right.
All right? So here she is. She's getting pregnant. And then all of a sudden, Caesar Augustus comes on and makes this stupid decree. Everybody's got to go back to where your great-grandpa comes from, and we're going to count everybody. Now, can you imagine if the United States government all of a sudden came in and said, y'all got to go back to wherever your great-grandpa was. We're going to count everybody. The inconvenience, seriously.
Yeah.
They had lives, these people.
Yeah.
Now they got to stop everything to go all the way up to this stupid trip, right? Well, now Mary, she's hooking up with Joseph, right? So his great-grandpa comes from Bethlehem. Here we go up to Bethlehem. And you can imagine what a fun trip this is, right? Now, you being pregnant, right? Okay, now, riding a donkey on a long trip
9 months pregnant
cannot be a fun thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You got to be irritable. You got to be frustrated. You got to be mad. And you think, where is God? What in the world is going on? My life has been going to the toilet. Where is that angel? I got to have a word with that angel. You hear me? So now they get into Bethlehem, all right? There's no place to stay. Now, how can this be? You said God is with me. Hello? Where are you? You know, a hotel room, would that kill you for a hotel room? You know what I'm saying? And the first, so Joseph, he's freaking out, right? She's ready to pop, okay? He can't find any place. So he's freaking out. So they finally, some guy says, well, there's this barn over there. Now, so he's got to go sell this to Mary.
and she's in labor probably.
Yeah, you hear him talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Now, can you imagine the look Mary gave Joseph? Now, any man who's been married for more than a month has seen that look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's the, I don't need to say a word, but I am going to kill you look. All right? So now they go, they're in a barn. They're in a barn. Okay? And we make it sound so romantic, you know. The Christmas story, you know. La, 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 la. There ain't no angels singing in the barn. There's not even a karaoke machine, Leon. There's nothing. All right? The only thing they're hearing in the barn is, all right?
Yeah.
And all the associated aromas that come with said sounds.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Now, someone just figured that one out. So now,
Yeah.
now you have got to honestly think if you were in that situation.
Yeah.
You have got to feel abandoned by God.
Wow.
Where in the world are you?
Yeah.
How could this be happening? But in the midst of that miserable situation, and it was, folks, miserable, God could not have been closer.
Wow.
Literally, God incarnate
Come on now.
is going to be in their arms in a matter of moments. Now stop and think about this. If so many people judge their marriages based on whether or not things are going well.
Wow.
Now if you were like judging whether or not God is with you in that situation, you'd have thought for sure God had forsaken you.
Yeah.
But you need to know something. When you're going through a rough time in marriage, and we all go through rough times, we drive each other crazy. We do. Now if my wife would just agree with me, it'd be so much better. But she doesn't agree with me. I can't imagine why. But we get on each other's nerves. We drive, and it's just part of life, okay? Actually, it's a wonderful plan. You know, the Bible talks about that we need to die to self.
Yeah.
Right? How many times Jesus talked about picking up your cross and dying to yourself, except a seed falling on the ground and dies, okay? Death, death, death. I mean, God is trying to kill you. All right? Are you tracking with me?
Yeah.
Okay? And there is no better institution designed to kill you than marriage. All right? Now, hang in there with me. All right? Yeah. He's in the doghouse.
Yeah.
All right, now. Now, not physically kill you, although some people think that they're going to die,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
It's the selfish part of you, because you can't do this and be selfish.
Yeah.
But you have to, now, I try to teach couples how to succeed with each other so
Yeah.
they can be happy. But nobody's happy all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. You know, there's times of just, what are you laughing about? There's times of glorious misery,
Yeah.
okay, that you that you have got to suffer through.
Yeah.
You say, how do you do that? Number one, you got to value and hold highly the covenant that you have with each
Yeah.
other.
Yes.
If you cherish the covenant, you've got to cherish the covenant before things can get better. Okay? Now what happens is a lot of people, they value or they judge the covenant based on the value of their relationship. If the relationship is great, they value the covenant.
Yeah.
If the relationship stinks, they are ready to discard the covenant.
Wow.
You will never survive marriage if you think that way.
Right.
You have got to, you say, well, I can't do it. Yes, you can. Women all the time, I can't do it. Yes, you can. Because women do. Yeah, I wonder why so many women get mad at me. That's right there is one reason. Yes, they can. And you know who proves it more than women? Because they prove it every day with their children. They are absolutely committed to their children.
Yeah.
Their children can drive them crazy. They can drive them up the wall. But there's nothing that child could ever do that would ever separate her from that child.
It's true.
That's the way women think, because they're absolutely committed to that covenant with that child. I mean, the kid could grow up and become an axe murderer.
Yeah.
And you know who's visiting him in jail? Mama.
Yeah.
Right? Mama is still there. Well, he's my baby. He's my baby. I know he has issues. I understand. But he's my baby. Now, women can do this at an unbelievable level. It's truly amazing what they can do. Now, men can do it to a pretty strong degree.
Yeah.
But even at some point, the man will disown the kid. They will. You know, like Fiddler on the Roof. You ever see this movie? It's a great movie. Fiddler on the Roof, right?
Right.
Da, 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 dum, da, da, da. So anyway, in the movie, Tevye, the first kid's driving him nuts, okay? The second kid's driving him more nuts. Anybody got kids? The third kid, he can't take it anymore. And he says, enough! Tradition! You know, he can't bend anymore. He can't break. But Mama and everybody's still hanging on to the kid, right? So,
Right.
I mean, so women get this more than anybody. That nothing can happen in that relationship that will make me walk away from that relationship. And I'm telling you, people, if men and women in America, I'm talking Christian people, if we would value the covenant of marriage,
Yeah.
like we value the covenant with our children, we would eliminate divorce in America.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Good. First, I have a couple of things to say.
You better be nice.
I need to warn some of the men in the audience that when they laugh too hard,
You will pay.
You will hear about it later. Specifically, the guy that I'm not looking at with the black leather coat right about here laughed a couple of times a little too hard, okay? In addition, has someone turned off the air conditioner in that studio? It's getting a little warm up here.
A little warm?
Yeah. And ultimately, what you have, you don't give us any excuses anymore. You make us laugh, and it's all funny. And by the way, your point about Mary and Joseph and the uncomfortable thing of not valuing, that's a very powerful point. If you would just recap that for a second, that'd be awesome.
If people would value their relationship with their husbands and wife, their marriage, that covenant, like they value their covenant with their children, you would eliminate divorce in America.
Yeah.
Because they never give up on their children.
How do we do that? Because the media and what we feed on daily it holds no value.
Yeah, well, you just had to quit feeding on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Quit feeding on the junk, man, and listen to these psycho crazy people. Because it's all about them. It's all narcissistic. I got to be happy. So we're doing this show. We haven't had a chance to talk about the TBN's going to air. God bless you guys. Thank you. Starting next year, called Love, Marriage, and Stinking Thinking. Okay? And we did this people in the street thing. And we went around saying, should you stay married if you're not happy? And all these people are going, no, particularly women. No, you shouldn't have to stay married. If you're not happy, no. And this one woman said, absolutely not. But the whole time she's got this 1-year-old on her hip, bouncing, and the kid's screaming and driving her nuts. And as I'm listening to her, I'm thinking, she would never think that way about that kid.
Wow.
But she'll think that way about her marriage. Man, and if your happiness is going to determine your commitment, you are doomed.
Yeah.
Because you can't stay happy all the time unless, your wife never talks. But I mean,
That was a little loud. You can go sit by the man in the black leather jacket.
Did I just cackle?
You did.
Oh my God.
Father, forgive me, for I have sinned.
Okay.
I'm in the
I
middle
can't
of sinning.
take it. Jim and Marguerite, come up here and sit with us because I can't take the pressure all by myself. Jim, come suck it up with me. Okay, scoot over a little bit.
hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
Come over here. Come over here so you can look at Everett. Come
All
sit right
over
here.
there.
All four of us. Right
Man,
here.
we got two. I think this guy's got beat up over here.
And so that way, he'll think I'm laughing.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody wants to sit with me.
Okay. I can take the last 7 minutes of the show. Go for it.
What were we talking about?
I have no idea.
The fact that things, at times you're not happy. You've got to keep a commitment despite your happiness level, okay?
Right.
Now, I believe you can be happy, okay? But you're not happy all the time. There's times when you're greatly happy. There's times when you drive each other crazy, up and down, up and down, up and down. But, man, you just got to hang in there. Don't, be like Mary and Joseph. In the midst of horrible misery, when they felt the worst, God was the closest
Come on
to
now.
them.
Hey, Mark, we've been married 36 years,
Yeah.
Divorce, no. Murder, yes. Sometimes.
Yes. I won't divorce him. I will kill him, but I will not divorce him. Okay? Yeah.
One of the things that, it sounds kind of funny, but in the early years, because I didn't come from a family that had a great marriage. My mom was married 3 times, wasn't happy with any of them. And so I didn't know, I didn't know how to have a happy marriage. And when I started reading the Word, what I decided, it was like we were in this room, we walked in together and closed the door, locked it with those old-fashioned kind of keys, and it's like I was throwing the key underneath, and since we were locked in this room forever anyway, might as well be happy there. So I had to make the choice to learn to get along with this guy. And the good news is he's a different guy than he was, 36 years ago. I couldn't have stayed married to that first husband of mine.
You know what? That's true, because women don't understand it. Women do improve men. They really do. Now you have to understand the frustration of this. On his wedding day, you guys know what I'm talking about. You're looking at the girl, and here's what a man is thinking. You're perfect. You're great. I hope you never change.
Yeah.
That's exactly what men think, right? Mm-hmm. And the woman's going, I love you. You're great, but you need some work.
Yeah.
All right?
Oh, man.
Yeah. So they set out to change us. We're not happy about that, okay?
Yeah.
And women get frustrated because it takes so long. The good news is you can't, The good news is you can change men. You can improve them. You just got to think long term.
Yeah.
Okay? The good news is you can eventually get us where you want us. The bad news is when we get there, then we die. And it's all over. Because it takes a long time.
That's true.
Are we really down to 3 minutes?
Yeah.
We
Go.
are.
You got
Good heavens, what can I say in 3 minutes?
drill us down for another 3 minutes. Come on, Mark.
Let me say an encouraging word. It also comes from the Christmas story.
Okay.
To the women. So many women in America, Christian women right now, are so frustrated and angry with their husbands, and they don't want to respect their husbands because they feel that they're not doing the right stuff. Okay?
Sure.
But let me encourage you something about authority isn't based on what you do, it's based on who you are. Okay? Now stop and think about this. Wise men from the East. See, in Eastern culture, they understand it. It's the Western. We have a hard time. Because if you don't do it, you don't earn it. Okay? But in true authority, it's not based on what a king, for example, in Eastern culture, is a king, whether he's a great king or a pig of a king. It doesn't matter. Okay? It's not based on what you do. So it's based on who you are. So here in the story, 3 wise men from the East come to a baby boy. He's what? About 2 years old.
Yeah.
And they bow down and they worship this child.
Yeah.
How in the world could you possibly do that? Because they realized who he was. You'd never had wise men from the West do that. First of all, I'm not sure we have any. But, except for these 2 guys. But the wise men, we'd have walked in and said, what? He's 2 years old. What is this? He's still pooping his pants, for crying out loud. You know, when he does something, give me a call. Right? And that's what happens, okay? Now, in Eastern Christian culture, we reset our meter.
Yeah.
I can talk longer. In Eastern Christian culture, much of the worship music is about praising God for who he is.
Yeah.
But in the Western culture, let's praise God for what he's
Done.
It's all about doing.
Wow.
See? Do. We measure everything. Do. And then, it's a do message. But,
Kim was talking about
yeah, Kim was talking about that earlier. We won't repeat some of that stuff. But anyway. Dude, I was dying back there when that was going on. That was funny stuff. But anyway, what am I talking about? Oh, authority, okay? So even though he may not be doing everything, you can still respect him just because of who God says he is.
Wow.
You say, how can I do that? It's called faith. It's called faith. Can I give you one more thing about authority? I'm getting spiritual today. Hallelujah. About authority in the home. Do you know so often in the Old Testament we see this picture? There was always a guy in authority, usually called a king, and then there was always a prophet. Okay? Very rarely were they ever the same people. There were always 2 separate offices. Even in the New Testament, you would have prophets speaking to those who were in charge. It never made the prophet in charge. The prophet never said, how come I'm always hearing from God? How can you never hear from God? What's the matter with you? I don't want to be the king. All right? Now, some of you ladies know what I'm talking about because you struggle because it seems like you hear more from God than your stupid husband, right? Right? Because what we have taught inerrantly is that in the home, the husband is both king and prophet. What if we're wrong? What if God always intended for the one in authority to still have a prophet, his wife, who's hearing from God? And then you quit getting, the prophet, by the way, would never challenge the king and say, how come I'm always here? So, what are you, some kind of a moron, you know? And the king never got intimidated by the prophet. In fact, one king, Saul, got in trouble because he didn't wait for the prophet.
Yeah.
Remember? Went ahead and went without him. This role of king and prophet is so powerful. It is so powerful that in the end, Satan uses the same model. There is the Antichrist and the false prophet. 2 separate people. Have we not been teaching this in homes? We haven't. The reality is, I think in most homes, the husband is the leader because the Bible just says so. Get over it, okay? But the wife often is the prophet. It's true in my home, and I'm the man of God. I'm preaching and teaching, but it's my wife in the home. She is the one noticing stuff. Watch for that, Mark. Look out for it. You need to talk to your kids about this, da-da-da. You know, but we're good with that. But if you really think that your husband is supposed to be both king and prophet, then you're going to be angry, you're going to be bitter, you're not going to respect him because he's not doing the right stuff. What if just as the leader, he's not supposed to do a whole lot of anything?
Yeah. Mark, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Men, in the audience, Did any of your wives just hit you in the gut like mine did? I was just wondering if anyone got the elbow to the leg. And by the way, doll, I have a giant bruise right there. So I'm about to cry.
So
yeah.
sorry.
And okay, the wife, you're preaching good now. So keep going because you're really reading kind of our mail. Absolutely. She hears a lot and she's constantly saying things. You know, this morning. Weren't you this morning? You were naming those two guys, or are those guys back in, you know, and yeah, remember? Okay, that was this morning, right?
It wasn't me, was it?
No.
Okay,
no,
good.
No. So keep going on that. That's
Well,
good.
that's what I'm talking about. But now, if you've been taught falsely that the husband has to be king and prophet, then he's going to resent his wife for speaking into his life. Woman, submit. You're usurping authority. Don't you dare usurp my authority. Okay? Or, if you've been taught this as well, you get angry at him. I have women come in. That's when I first started noticing it. I have women come in, and they're so angry at their husbands. I say, why? Because I'm always hearing from God. How come he's there? He's supposed to be the spiritual head of the home. Do you know, we always say that, but the Bible never says that. It never says the man is the spiritual head of them. Not kind of implied. You can imply it if you want. It just says he's the head. Period. What if, just like that model that's used all throughout the Bible and how Satan even imitates it in the end, what if that should be what's happening in our homes? I would argue, if you look around you, that's exactly what's happening all the time. We're just not seeing it. That's what's happening in your marriage. Because she's hearing from God, she's seeing stuff that maybe you're not seeing. If you resent that role, it's going to create friction and stuff. If you embrace the role, the kings loved hearing from the prophets. When the kings needed to make a decision, who'd they call for? Go get the prophet.
Yeah.
See? And a lot of men, you do wise to call in your wife. What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What are you praying about? What do you think we should do? But see, if you think that's wrong, that she shouldn't and that he should all the time, and that's where we're getting a lot of this unbalanced stuff. I do not believe that the model is husbands, both king and prophet. I think that it's the two of them together. When you're working together in this biblical model, that's when most of the life of God just flows, and it's fabulous.
Okay, men and women, we think differently. Is that right?
Yes.
Our brains process information. I'd like a 4 shot over here because I like the fact, I like this shot. See, all of us are in this together, Jim. We're forever linked. You and I are forever linked, okay?
Blood brothers.
And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we look like twins on the shirt thing.
Looking good.
Okay.
I feel so lonely and alone. I have been abandoned. Anyway,
Okay, you got 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Make sure we understand that men and women think differently in the process. And then, by the way, when they give you the countdown, you got to pitch to Leon Patillo, fill this place,
Okay.
and that takes us to the close. So you
Okay.
got the game all the way to the end.
Okay, wrapping this up. Men and women think differently. Get a great analogy. I've used this before, but do you know that men and women's eyes actually work differently? Okay, men's eyes tend to be like little binoculars. And if our eyes do not hit what we're looking for, we can't see it. Women's eyes are more like wide-angle lenses, and they see all the detail. This is why a man can open a kitchen cupboard and go, "Where's the salt?" and she would go, "It's right there in front of your face." And you go, "I can't see it." All right? And then, as if by magic, she pulls it out of thin air. It's right here. And you go, "Whoa." All right? Well, it doesn't make women better than men in that situation. It just makes us different. There's always this competition. It's just we're different. And we look at, doesn't make anybody evil. But, now using the same analogy, and these are generalities, by the way, this is one of the reasons why women have a hard time reading maps. Because when a man opens up a map, right, as soon as you see where you are and where you want to go, all the other lines disappear. But a woman, she sees all the lines all the time. And she can't do it. And the husband's driving. And he says, "Where are we?" She says, "I don't know." "How can you not know?" "I don't know. There's so many lines. I can't see anything." It doesn't make us evil. It just makes us different embrace the differences. Together, you can make a wonderful person with your wife. Anyway, over to Leon Patillo. God bless you guys.